Welcome to Backstage with Becca B, with special guest Lindsay Pearce. Hi everyone, welcome to Backstage with Becca B. On this episode, today's guest got her start on the Glee Project and since then has starred in a countless amount of LA musicals, including Cruel Intentions musical and American Idiot. Now, she's the current Elphaba in Broadway's hit musical, Wicked. Please welcome Lindsay Pearce.
Hi.
Hi, my dear. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Happy quarantine.
I know, right? Yeah, kind of happy.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on this with me.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Of course. I'm so excited.
How are you? How have you been?
I mean, I think everyone's been better.
Sure.
But, I mean, given the circumstances I'm living, trying to,
We're alive. Yep.
Yeah. And
okay, one day at a time.
My dog is helping me lots. She's right on the side.
Yeah.
So if I didn't have a dog, I don't know how I would handle now.
Yeah, I get that.
It's a lot of
people.
Yeah. They're very helpful.
Yeah.
So how have you been?
I'm here.
Exactly.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm all right. Very grateful for honestly, counting the blessings and taking things one day at a time, taking it in stride and just trying to enjoy. I feel like it's privileged to say like, enjoy the bits that are nice but I do because I know when certain things come back or after certain things happen at the end of this year and I know life will become a craze again and
Eventually.
and I think artists, I mean I'm sure we'll probably get into it, but I think that artists I know myself, I wouldn't call myself a workaholic, but I am a hard worker and we're used to go, go, go. So, while I did love performing and miss it very much, it has been nice to have, I shouldn't say nice because it hasn't been nice, but it is when you try to silver lining something and not in a way of toxic positivity, but just like, okay, how can I find something in this that's going to teach me something valuable that I can take with me into the next phase or whatever it is, and that is slow down. And that's been a big thing, is like slow the hell down. You don't have to go at 150 miles an hour all the time. And then the other side of my brain's like, but I like to.
Yeah.
So it's been learning, lots of learning and enjoying this time with my fiance and I know, but enjoying this time with Steven and we both know that once I go back to Wicked, I'm going to go back into my green hole and not come out for a while. So we're just trying to enjoy this time that we are very lucky to spend together. And that's been really nice.
Yeah. And for right now, you don't have to walk around with like the green highlight around.
No, I do miss that though.
Yeah, I would.
I thought I was gonna be like, oh, thank God, but I was like, oh, maybe there's one left somewhere. Yeah, no green in the ears anymore. No green. I did have a green head, which is a green blackhead. I did have one of those a little while ago, and I sent a photo to the tour Elphaba, and she was like, I have them all over. And I was like, oh, it's our one little piece of Elphaba left is just our blackheads that are filled with green makeup.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's foul. It's absolutely foul.
And having to explain that,
Yeah. But she gets it. Yeah.
It's like everyone who's been in that position. Is
yeah,
like,
if you know, you know. Yeah, Emma was the first thing when I called my best friend. When I let her know, she was like, oh my God, the greenheads. You're going to have the best time with the greenheads. I was like, I know, I can't wait.
Yes.
So,
to start off, have you always known that you wanted to have a career in theater and be in musicals?
I think I did. It's interesting as I get older, um, it's not like I forget the beginning of it all, but I can't recall if there was a time when I was little where I had like this definitive, I'm gonna do this. I knew I always loved this. But I think my parents knew before I knew because I was the only, I'm adopted and I'm the only performer in my family. My youngest my older brother, who's the youngest of the boys, is an amazing songwriter and a rapper and a singer and a performer. But I'm the only one that does theater and acting. And so I was, this big family of athletes, and they adopt this like singing, nonstop talking liar of a child. And yeah, so I think they knew me. I think they knew something. They knew something about what I was going to eventually want. I think they had an inkling, and they were the ones that were responsible for putting me into like the children's theater troops, and
Yeah.
getting me into classes, and yeah. So I think when I turned 16, there was a really big moment where I left my private Christian high school to go to my junior college because there was no theater program in my high school. It was a very small school. It has one now, but it did not have one back in like 2007.
Congrats.
And I was just like, I want to be challenged. I want to be academically challenged. I want to be challenged I want to do college theater. I want to learn more about this. And so my parents said, well, okay, if you're going to do it, you have to do all of the transferring and you have to do all the calls and you have to make all the meetings and you have to do all the things. And I did. And so that was kind of I think that was like the beginning of the idea of I really, I want to do this. I'm a theater kid. And then when I was 17, it was kind of right after that big transfer. When I was 17, I got cast as Belle in Beauty and the Beast in the Bay Area. And that was I was 17 and I was the youngest principal in the entire cast. And everybody else was in their 20s, their 30s. And I was like, oh my God, I'm playing with the big kids now. Oh my God, I'm doing it. And to lead a show, to helm a show like that was a big learning experience. And I knew I had seen Beauty and the Beast at Sierra Repertory Theater in Northern California when I was like 13. And I remember seeing that woman play Belle, and I was like, wow, I think I want to do that. And then right after I finished Beauty and the Beast, that summer, and then met my fiance doing Midsummer Night's Dream later that year. And then in the spring, right before I turned 18, I saw Wicked. And then, and Wicked, the end of Act 1 happens, and I was like, oh, I'm good. I turned to my mom and I said, I'm going to do that someday. And
Yeah.
Here we are.
Two full circle moments.
Yeah.
With both Beauty and the Beast and Wicked.
Yeah. My first big show was Lion King. I was like 12, I think, and I went with my little theater group. We'd like raised money for all of us to be able to go, and I think some had been donated. I think some tickets had been donated, and so we got to go. And I only ever watched shows in San Francisco, so we got to go see Lion King, and I'll never forget it. It was the first like huge thing I had ever seen. Sitting up on the like right on the edge of the mezzanine, like peering over and seeing the story come to life. And then my mom took me to see Les Mis when I was like 14 or 15, and I cried through the whole show. The whole show. And there wasn't a moment where I was like, I want to play this character. I was just so happy to be there and be watching this soundtrack that I was obsessed with. And, I'd seen the anniversary films, where they do it in concert and stuff. And to see that live was amazing. And my mom was really good about trying to get me to see local productions of things and like quasi-professional productions, regional productions of things. because we don't have a lot of money. So they really did their best to kind of like feed the beast. Feed the beast. And she got fed. And it really, they say you get bit by the bug, and I really did. I got bit by the bug, and it wouldn't let me go.
And you were inspired. We love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I think always, when I was young, I loved storytelling, and I loved escaping. I loved escapism. I loved daydreaming, and I loved books. I really, really loved to my credit, and I think in my adult life, to my detriment, I love to be anywhere but here, that kind of anywhere but here thing.
Yeah.
And now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, I want to be here and nowhere else. But I do. I loved storytelling, and I loved, as someone who felt like, because, adopted, feeling a little bit outside of the outskirts of my own community, and my family and my friends, I always just kind of felt a little bit sideways. I always felt a little off kilter, and to be able to so safely connect with other people through the medium of theater and performing and acting was really nice.
What do you think makes theater like something that you can connect with so well?
I think that there's something that happens in live performance, where if you think about it in like basic terms, you purchase a ticket for a show you may or may not know about. You walk into a big building full of things, with which is weird to talk about now, hundreds of other people most of the time, lots of other people. Yeah, like right now you're like, oh, please, I don't want that at all. But you think about it, you go with hundreds of people and you sit in seats shoulder to shoulder with people, which is, again, crazy to think about right now, but crazy to think about it happening again in the future. But you choose to sit shoulder to shoulder with absolute strangers. It's the same kind of magic that happens in a movie theater. It really is, where you all sit down, and for a certain amount of time you buy into the moment, and you are all experiencing the same thing at the same time through your eyes. And there's something really special about that communion. There's something really special about that camaraderie, where if you were to bump shoulders with that person on the way out, you'd be like, did you like the show? They'd be like, I loved it. Or, well, I didn't. And you'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. There's something really joining that happens with theater, and really anything. I mean, I feel that way. And, anytime there's a Star Wars movie that comes out, or an Avengers film, or something, something with like a large franchise, and the whole movie theater is going absolutely apeshit, that's because there's this connection, and everyone feeds off of everyone else's energy. But the thing that I love about live theater is that it's, for myself at least, when I experience it, it's right there. It's not a screen. It's not, and there's nothing wrong with television or film. I mean, what incredible art forms. But it's like if you got up and walked, and some people do this. Please don't do this if you're in a theater. Please don't do this to the actors. But if you walked up and you walked to the edge of the stage, you could reach out and touch. You can see them sweating. You can see what they're going through, and it's not like a movie, that you watch at home where you can pause and rewind and you get up for snacks, and you're there, you're strapped in for the ride, and sometimes that's a play, and sometimes there's an orchestra that's like half the time below you. That's just, you can feel it in your feet, and the sound system shakes your bones, and it's just there's something really special about it. And I think live theater also is, art is just satire of the times. So it's just, you go because you want to see yourself up there somehow, and you go because you want to feel as though someone is representing you, and you want to feel like you're looking in a mirror safely. And that's what I loved theater for, and I think that's what I do. I can't tell you how many times at Wicked I would stand on the side and wait to go on, and I would be able to see through the wings of the stage, and there'd be a little someone, in the front row, just like, and you're like, oh, that's an Elphaba, or that's going to be a Glinda, or that's a Fiero, or that's a Chistery, or a Wizard, or it's just interesting because we were all there. We were all that little someone forever ago. And I think a lot of us are still that little someone. And I think that's something for me, my inner little someone just like is always at play when I get to be at work. And my challenge now is to let that little someone not just stay at work, they get to just stay with me and find that creativity elsewhere. But yeah, I think that was a long-winded answer, but that's my answer.
I loved it so much. And I'm going to get
Yeah.
more into Wicked later.
Sure.
But I wanted to ask, because you mentioned seeing Wicked for the first time in that full circle moment.
Totally.
Who was your first Elphaba and Glinda in the show?
Tia Wicks and Kendra Cassabaum.
Oh.
Yeah, so Wicked had opened in New York, and they had a sit down production in Chicago, like, productions that were not touring in Chicago and in Los Angeles, and then they opened in San Francisco, and I saw when they were in San Francisco, not touring, when they were actually like installed into San Francisco. Yeah, it was Tia Wicks and Kendra Cassabaum. That was beginning of April 2009.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because Olivia last week said that Tia Wicks was her first Elphaba.
Yeah. What's crazy, it just being in Wicked for 3 weeks, performing in it for 3 weeks before the shutdown, I was some people's first Elphaba, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe. Well, of course I would be, because they're a younger generation,
Yeah.
and people coming from that, from somewhere else in the States, or from out of the States, that have never seen Wicked, have never seen it live. And I had people saying, this is my first Broadway show, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. What a fucking gift. What an honor.
Yeah.
Like, truly, truly, truly. And excuse me for cursing, but it's true. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I never thought that I'd be someone's first anything. And again, peering through those wings and seeing that little someone, or seeing that person see the show for the first time or for the 50th time, and just like, it's like, oh, this is why we do this. This is
Yeah.
exactly why we do this. So, yeah.
Wicked is one of those shows where if you're someone's first, I feel like it's just like
You're very connected to
Yes.
it. Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
they'll remember that show forever, no matter who they
Yeah.
see in the future.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the tour Alpha Battaglia Scour, she was asking, we were messaging on Instagram the other day, and I said something about, we were talking about Wicked, and I don't remember what context, but she was like, who did you see in San Francisco? And I was like, it was Tia Wicks and Kendra Cassabaum. And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, who was yours? And she said, Shoshana. And I was like, wow. Yeah, because she saw it in New York years and years and years ago. When she was like 12 or 13, she saw it in New York. And I was like, oh my God, to see Shosh do that live back in the day is just like, oh my God, what an incredible thing. And to think that my name is now added to the list of the other 21. I'm the 22nd Broadway principal, Elphaba, which is wild. And the list of Elphabas is long. The tour, the first national, the second national, the Japan, Korea, like all of it. I mean, there's so many green girls around the world, and it's very cool.
to have lead under your belt right now, that's insane.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's insane. Somebody sent me a video. I can't watch videos of myself back. I'll go to post a video of like a throwback of me singing, or me singing something live in my bedroom on Instagram, and I won't even watch the whole thing. I'll just be like, it all has sound, great, great, great. It's difficult for me to watch things back unless I know that it went well. I try not to judge my performances, and I try to leave things there in the moment, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't like that choice, and then I second guess myself, and I get in my own head about singing or acting choices. But someone sent me a video compilation, not of the Defying Gravity, not of all the Elphabas singing together, but of oh my God, what was it? It was Defying Gravity with every single principal Elphaba from Adina to me. And I was in that video. And it's like, I think it's like bootlegs and stuff, and I didn't watch it. It was just like the audio, so it was the entire song, but everyone singing like one line. And I was like, oh, I was like, I don't understand why they sent this to me. And then I looked at the info on the YouTube, like at the drop down, and it said the bottom was Lindsay Pearce. And I was like, that's crazy. That's bananas to me. That's
Yeah,
bonkers.
with all
That
of
I'm on
them.
the list, yeah. That it like starts
Yeah.
with Adina and for now ends with me. I was like, wow, that's bonkers. That's crazy. It really is bonkers.
I think you posted something about how you and Tali had never met in person.
Yeah.
How did you all start talking, and when did you all start talking? Did you just like message her
No,
pre?
I think I started following her on Instagram or she started following me because they were on tour. They I don't even remember where they were, but she messaged me first. I think. Oh my God. If she hears this, she's going to be like, actually, I can't remember, but I think she reached out to me. Um, I really don't remember. I know that I didn't know who she was. I know that I didn't like know because I was so brand new. I got the call that I was going to be stepping into the role on the 2nd of January, and I got on a plane on the 26th and the evening of the 26th, and I landed on the morning of the 27th, and I started work on the 28th of January. So it was very fast. My process was very fast. They knew for a while that I was going to be going in, but like they had to draw up everything, and I got the final call on the 2nd of January after the holidays. So I kind of had to get my shit together really quick, and I think I followed her on Instagram. She followed me, and I was like, oh, it's the tour, Talia. I'll just follow her back. But I didn't message or anything. And I think what happened is she reached out to me and was just like, hey, congratulations. Because once one company member knows something, like everybody knows something. So my Glinda had followed me, and a couple other company members had followed me, and my Bach had followed me. Just slowly, people were starting to follow me because they found out who was what and what was going on, and all she was just like, hi, I'm the tour Elphaba, and I just wanted to say hi and welcome, and if you need anything, let me know. I am here for you because it's a hard job. It's a
Yeah.
really hard job, and a lot of people who have love for Elphaba and have love for the actors who have taken Elphaba on are always like, totally, it's a really hard job, but truly no one gets it until you do it. And so it was nice to have kind of like a team of, I know quite a few Elphabas, and so it was nice to kind of have a team of people just being like, how are you today?
Yes.
Do you need anything? And it was always just like, sleep, I need sleep. Yeah, and we've never met in person. We've just become, she's become a dear friend of mine. I don't know if I've become a dear friend of hers, but she really has become such a dear friend. And I think there's something special about everything kind of, she'd been on tour, I think, for like 7 months, and I was just beginning, and we were just commiserating about like silly things like, oh my God, that skirt is so heavy, or oh, girl, the broom, or this or that or the other thing, and um and then when everything, happened, we've just been just so close to each other, and just there's something special about like we are the two active Elphabas, and so there's just this kind of like, we're gonna be okay, kind of feeling that happens, and she's a delight. She's a really good girl, and she's a baby. She's like 23. She's so little.
Yes.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
she's just very much. There's a certain type of personality, I think, that gets cast as Elphaba. So it's just been a very wonderful friend, a very wonderful friend to gain during all of this. So that's been really nice.
You all get to discuss the role together, probably. That probably helps.
Really help.
So
How
how did you get into? Because you kind of got your start on the Glee Project. So how did you get into the Glee Project? I was auditioning for that.
Auditioning for the Glee Project happened in one of those right place at the right time kind of situations. I was living in Modesto in Northern California, and I was part of a local talent show called Valley's Got Talent that was happening at the big Gallo Arts Center in downtown Modesto. And one of the judges was Robert Ulrich because he's from Modesto and he cast Glee in the Glee Project. So I had messaged him about college applications. I was trying to, I was reapplying because I didn't get into colleges, any colleges, that specific semester. I wasn't able to transfer. So I was like going back to square one, and my mom suggested, why don't you reach out to Robert Ulrich on Facebook? Maybe he could say like, hey, when you're writing your essay, include this and don't include that and yada yada. And then I messaged him and he said, let me call you in 15 minutes. He's like, I'm happy to help you with this, but I have to ask you something. And he said, now, I can't ask you to audition because that's a conflict of interest. But if you would like to audition, here is all of the information. We will see you on this day at this time. And I was like, great. And so I drove down to Los Angeles and stood in that blue room that everybody has stood in to audition for Glee and Glee Project. And that was really it. I went and, I mean, that wasn't really it. It was, I auditioned and genuinely, I was ill. I haven't done many auditions where I have been like well and truly sick when it happens, but I had just closed a show and I remember just being like, I am so freaking tired. And I remember my throat hurt to swallow, and which is very strange to talk about these symptoms in a post-COVID world, but, or like current COVID world, but it was like laryngitis. It was something of like everything it hurt to swallow, and I had a headache, and I was blah, blah, blah. But, you never tell anybody that you're sick at an audition because like you just do your best. And I remember Robert filming me and being like, are you sick? And I was like, no, I'm not sick. No. I was like 19. I was like, absolutely not. Like I'd be sick. Absolutely not. And he was like, you're sick. So it really wasn't the best audition. And I just kind of walked out with my tail between my legs. And then I think he just gave me some grace because he had seen me previously perform and really believed in me. So I got to go to the callbacks and I did well in the callbacks. I was not sick during the callbacks. And then I just kept going through rounds of callbacks. And then that was it. I got a call in January is, I guess, my lucky month, but January I got a call that I was going to be going, and then we started filming on the 11th of February in 2011. Yeah, 2011.
9 years ago.
Technically 10. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
The whole year. Yeah, technically 10. Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, I was 19 and crazy, absolutely crazy, and I'm 29 now. So it's bonkers.
Did you ever expect to get as far as you did on Glee Project?
No. I think something that Glee Project really brought out in me was I had show confidence, but I did not have self-confidence. And there's a big difference between show confidence and self-confidence. I knew that I was good at what I did. I knew that I loved what I did, and I knew that I loved doing, like the actual act of being involved and doing the music videos and the dancing and everything. But I didn't think I was good enough, or that I was interesting enough, or that I was talented enough. And maybe that's like baby of the family complex or something. I'm not really sure, but that definitely was a huge thing that was brought to the forefront of my attention when I was filming and then in the aftermath of filming. So no, I didn't. I genuinely, there were quite a few weeks where I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in the bottom. And then I wouldn't be in the bottom, and I was like, huh. And then there were weeks where I wasn't expecting to be in the bottom, and I would be in the bottom, and I was like, huh, do I know anything? And the answer was no. The answer was no, I don't know anything. And it truly, I was like, oh, I don't fucking know a thing. Great. I'm just gonna have a good time, I guess. Yeah. So I was not expecting to get as far as I did, and I was also not expecting to be given any episodes at all. So yeah, it was a pretty wild ride.
And how was the experience being on the show? Did you watch it previously, or
Glee?
was it? Yeah. Previously?
I had and I had not. So Glee had been out for I had not seen the whole of season 1, but my friend Danielle called me and was like, come over, because Lady Gaga had gotten really big at the time. This was in like 2009, 2010, like end of 2009, early 2010. And she called me over to watch the Lady Gaga episode in season 2. And I was like, oh, I fucking love this. I was like, oh, this is fabulous. So I illegally downloaded all of season 1, and I watched it on my rinky-dink computer and loved it. I really enjoyed season 1 of that show, and then got through I caught up to season 2 and then watched it in real time. So, or watched some of it in real time, because then we were watching it while we were filming. Like we would watch like the rest of the season while we would watch the seasons of Glee while we were filming, or the episodes, which was kind of like a fun treat. They were like, hey, it's Glee night. Do you want to come watch TV? Do you want to come watch the episodes? And that was an interesting thing while filming Glee Project, was to be like, oh, we could be doing that. And then sometimes we'd get to watch our own music videos. Like they'd do like a rough edit to like to show us what we had done. And that was a really cool thing, to have been able to see Glee and then see like a rough edit of our music videos, because you're like, oh my God, it looks the same. It looks like that product. Like we really are, like it really is Glee boot camp. That was really interesting. It was very interesting.
And you're like, I could be on it.
Yeah, there was
doing
definitely,
like that too.
yeah, there was definitely like a thought, like a dreaminess of like, oh, that could be me. Maybe that could be me. But deep down, I'm my own worst enemy. So I think young me was like, that could be me, but it won't be. So, and I think I still have drops of that. I think some of that keeps me humble, and I think some of that gets in my way. Yeah.
Everyone's their own worst enemy. How do you work on that and like building your self-confidence?
I think that a lot of that self-confidence work happens outside of the theater, or happens outside of my professional life, because I spent quite a few years looking for it in my professional life, and it couldn't give it to me. My professional life could not give me that confidence. I had to give it to myself, and I know that that's very cliche, but it's true. I also live a life of recovery, and in the last, 2.5+ years, I have walked a very specific path of self-reflection and I hate the phrase self-love, but it has been self-healing, I think, and man, just getting over one's ego. And then that's not something that you ever, like many things in our lives, it's not something that you ever just like arrive at. That's constant work, that you are looking within yourself and finding what is triggering you, finding the thing that you're actually upset about, finding the thing that actually makes you insecure, that you may or not be projecting elsewhere. And I think the other thing that gives me confidence is having, choosing to surround myself with people who are going to be good to me. And that's hard to do when you're not being good to yourself. So once I started being very good to myself and very kind to myself, and also zero bullshit with myself. I used to be quite a bullshitter, and I think a lot of young people are. And I am quite the opposite of that now. I think once you start surrounding yourself with people that you are inspired by, and people that you want to be like, and people that push you to be better, I think that's a really good way to just kind of get the ball rolling in forms of positive self-talk and confidence reminders.
That's a work in progress for everyone.
Yes.
Finding the confidence.
Yeah, and that changes as you age as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
my late 20s have been like, oh, that's not important anymore. This is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you've done a ton of LA theater since Glee
Yes,
Project.
that's how we met.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, how did you get involved with LA theater?
Um, you know, I'm very privileged to say that LA Theater kind of got involved with me. Um, I I had just got done doing Glee Project and was doing a lot of press and a lot of, events and stuff. And I got a call. It started with the Lithgow family pantos. I got a call, or my reps got a call that someone wanted to put me in the show because Glee Project happened to be on in Australia, and the director of the Snow White show that I was to be in saw me on Glee Project, like saw me and went, God, that looks like Snow White, and then saw the credits roll, and one of the producers was an old friend of hers, so she called and said, hey, can we get this girl in the show? And because she can sing and she can dance and yada yada yada. He was like, "Oh, she would be so down," and so that happened, and I rehearsed for that while I was filming Glee, and then after that, it was it was like a friend called me that had auditioned for Glee Project with me that I'd met in Glee Project auditions and said, "Hey, I'm doing last 5 years in Texas. Will you come? You'd be amazing. Would you? Is that something?" He's like, "You're our first choice. Would you want to come and do that?" And then I got the audition for Spring Awakening in LA, and that was like that was an agent audition, and I went and I stood in a room with Matt Magnuson and Zach Segoria and Janelle Parrish and Katie Stevens, Molly McCook, everybody that we know, and we all auditioned. Hope Lauren and Payson Lewis. Pretty wild. It's pretty wild. Like the hub that show became for quite a lot of people. There was similar. And that was we did Spring Awakening and I auditioned my butt off for that show and prepared my butt off for that show and to get just to get the part from the audition and then after that it was I was also doing pilot season auditions and I was also doing all kinds of other things. And after Spring Awakening, I'd taken a break because I'd had a slight vocal injury. Nothing too serious, but I went very hoarse for like 3 weeks. And so after that, I think it scared me out of singing. And then the next year, I hadn't done theater and I was aching for it. I hadn't done theater in months and like I'm talking like almost a full year. And I got a call or I got an email from Topher Reese Lawrence, and they were casting Bear. And would I be interested in coming in to audition? And I was like, I haven't sung in so long because this injury had scared the living shit out of me, and or this like setback. And it just, I think I needed to step away from everything for a while, and yeah, I got an email and I was like, oh, okay. And I remember downloading Bear and listening to it in my car everywhere I went, and I could not stop crying listening to the music and the story. And I thought I was going in for Nadia. And then I got there and they were like, no, you're reading for Ivy. And I was like, great, I haven't prepared any of that. So yeah, and I didn't know. I wasn't totally prepared. At least this is how I remember it. And so thank God I'd been listening to the show because I knew the Ivy material. And then and that was it. It was Bear was another kind of lightning in a bottle special time. And through Bear, Payson was doing work with For the Record, and Ruby Lewis had left to do the We Will Rock You tour, and they needed a Daisy, and he said, I know a girl who can belt really, really high. And that was my first Rockwell show, was Baz. And I was rehearsing for Baz while we were performing Bear. And then, and then it was like I just never left the Rockwell. And then I moved to DBA with For the Record with Tarantino, and and then I kept auditioning and going in and out of shows. And because I had been at DBA and at Rockwell performing in different shows, I had caught the eye of Burt Royal and Karen DiConcetto, who wrote Recovery Road. And so when I went in for Recovery Road, they were like, "Oh my God, hi, we know you." And yeah, and so that was, it was, I mean, there were so many ins and outs and all abouts and in betweens, all over of, day jobs and other little projects and singing and recording and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, that was how I got into the Rockwell, and then the Rockwell, and then I would go back to the Panto, and then I would do the Jagged Little Pill show, and then I would go back and do Tarantino, and then I would go back to the Rockwell, and then I would do all these things. And that was a really fun time. And which is what made the Wicked audition so interesting, because I truly had I thought that if I was to begin to audition for Broadway, that I would have to move to New York. And I came back from my ship job that I had done for about a year, and had started with my new agent. And then about a month in, while I was rehearsing for that Cherry Poppins Nightlesque show, the Nightmare Before Christmas burlesque show, I got an email in my inbox that said Wicked audition, Elphaba. And I was like, holy shit, it's happening. And I'd never auditioned for Broadway. Yeah, I'd never auditioned for Broadway before. So I was like, don't fuck it up. Just don't fuck it up. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is not make a fool out of yourself. All you have to do is be great. And so I went.
You didn't put pressure on yourself.
So all I did was I coached with Kathy Deitch, who you might know from Titanic, and she's an original Wicked cast member. And yeah, I coached with her to just make sure that I knew what the hell I was doing, and that I wasn't going to bust a vocal cord singing that material, because it's a lot of material to sing in one audition. And that was really that. I went in and went in again, and then I went in one more time and didn't hear anything, and got the call on the 2nd of January. I auditioned in November, and yeah, that was it. It really, I mean, when you look at it, it's like 10 years for that audition, and it's, yeah,
People don't realize how much led up to that. I feel
so
like.
much,
But
lots of climbing uphill, lots of really amazing experiences, lots of really heartbreaking experiences, lots of really eye-opening and heart-opening experiences, and I wouldn't change any of it.
plus, you've never given up.
No, and I don't think I would have, even if Broadway never came through my door. But I had spoken that out into the world, into the ether, when I was 17. It was, I mean, I cried when I coached for Wicked, because I just had always wanted to be in the room. It wasn't like I could have been cast as like tree number 7, and I would have been like, I'm so lucky to be tree number 7. I would be lucky to play any role in any Broadway production of Wicked ever, or any production of Wicked. I would be happy to do the Wicked Junior production at the Rockwell on a Sunday morning. Like I would be so happy to do it. Yeah, that's going to be my directorial debut. I yeah, so it was to just be grateful to be, I mean, to quote Hamilton, to be in the room where it happens, and to just walk in and be like, I'm just so happy to be here, and I hope I do a good job. Did not think they were actually looking for anybody, so I really didn't put pressure on myself. I just wanted to do good. I wanted to make a good audition, and I did. And it felt good, yeah, there was a really special energy in that room, and there was a really special energy when I auditioned. And it wasn't like I walked out and went, wow, I booked it. I walked out and went, they're not going to forget me. Like, I walked out and was like, I'm going to be able to audition for something else, and they'll be like, oh, it's that Lindsay girl. And that's all I wanted. I just wanted to be able to begin to audition for Broadway. And they were like, joke's on you. Put the green on right now. And I was like, holy shit. Okay, I will. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think I was completely ready. I mentally and emotionally, I was so ready. And I was like, I'm not gonna downplay myself and be like, I was so unprepared to step into this part. I was so ready by the time I debuted. I was so ready to debut. And, but there was certainly a moment of like, wait a second, a lot of other people that work on Broadway have already had quite a few shows under their belt before 29, 28, 29, however old I was when I started this. And I was like, and this is my first thing. This is hard. I'm so tired. And I really do believe that when we go back and I finish my contract, I'll be like, oh, I can do anything. If I could do Elphaba, if I could get through Elphaba, I could do anything. Easy, no problem.
And offers are gonna come to you really fast after
Oh,
that, I
bless
feel like.
you. I mean, I would, you know,
True.
if I can get an audition after doing this, I would be very happy. Yeah.
I mean,
If auditions are still a thing that exist after all of this crazy shit, I will be like, yes, just let me in the room. I'll be the reader.
be the reader.
I'll be the reader.
It'll happen really all the time.
Were you like talking to Emma during auditions for Wicked, or did you talk to? What did she know about it? Because y'all are super close.
Yeah, she knew. She knew that I was going in for Wicked. I texted her when I got the email. I was like, LOL, going in for Wicked. She was like, oh my God, you're gonna be so good. But my audition was the day after a really big life event for her. So we happened to all be in the same room. Everybody was with each other, like the whole group of people from that Rockwell LA theater community. We were all under one roof together, talking and connecting with each other. And I had to leave. I had to leave this event early because I was like, I gotta go to sleep because I was rehearsing all day and then going to my audition. So I was like, I need to be able to sleep so that I don't sound like a rooster when I go into this audition. So, yeah, she knew and she was very aware. And yeah, when I did the final callback, the callback, I went on a Monday, got a call, like walked out the door, and they said, wait, can you come back on Wednesday? And I was like, oh, yes. And then, if you want me to. And then I didn't hear anything. And then after Thanksgiving weekend, they were like, hey, can you come back in because something happened to the tape and to the video and the audio sync, like something had happened. So they had to call me back in. And what they weren't telling me was, basically everybody was trying to keep me from freaking out that essentially I had the role, that I had the role for since that Wednesday callback. This is what's been told to me, is that I'd had the role, but because they needed to decide if I was going to go to New York or if I was going to replace Talia when she finished her contract on tour. So they didn't know where they were going to put me. And they were like, well, we need the video because we have to send it to Joe Mantello and Stephen Schwartz for like an okay. And they were like, okay, we're just going to have her retape it. But I was doing a gig that whole week during all the times that they could see me. So I said, I can come in at like 9:30 in the morning. And they did. They hired people, but I didn't know. I thought it was just like a callback that everybody was going to eventually be at the Telsey offices on Wilshire in Los Angeles. And they were like, they were like, don't worry, we've hired an accompanist for the day. Like we have this, that, and the other. So I was like, oh, this is for a bunch of people. And it was just for me at 9:30 in the morning so that I could go get to my other job. But I didn't know. I had no idea. And I walked out going, oh, that was not good. Like my brain, I walked out being like, it was 9:30. Are you kidding me? Nobody sounds good at 9:30 in the morning. Not one soul. Maybe Jessica Vosk. Maybe Jackie Burns.
But
Absolutely no one else does. But apparently Psychotic Lindsay sounded okay because I sang all of that material probably 3 times over. It was very hard to do. And then I left and went through all of December and all the things that we do at the Rockwell and all the things that we do in our lives, and had booked a film and was waiting to hear the final yes on the film. So that's what I thought that my call was on the 2nd of January. I thought that I was going to get a final yes for the film. And my agent said, question for you, how do you feel about moving to New York to play Elphaba and Wicked on Broadway? And I was like, oh my God. Huh? And then towards the end of the phone call, after we like talked about everything, I was like, did I book the movie? And she was like, oh yeah, yeah. You booked the movie, which I couldn't do because of Wicked. So yeah, it was a pretty wild, that was a wild ride. And Emma was the second person I called. I called Stephen first, and then I called Emma. And she had been sleeping, so I'd woken her up, and she was like, "Hi." And I was like, "Hi, are you sleeping?" She's like, "Yeah, I was taking a nap. Are you okay?" Because we don't really call each other. We'll FaceTime. Like if we'll FaceTime if we want to like talk, but when we call, it's usually like, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. Can you talk to me?" And she was like, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." "You're laying down?" She's like, "Yeah." And I went, I booked Wicked, and she was like, "New Yorker tour." And I was like, "New York." She went, "Shut the fuck up." And I was like, "Yeah." And she was, "Lindsay, you're going to be on Broadway. Shut the fuck up. Oh my God." And I was like, "I know." She was like, "Oh my God." Yeah. And I was like, she just went, "Shut the fuck up." And I was like, I can't. It's happening. And she was like, "Shut the fuck up." And it was just the best. And she cried, and then she came to my opening night and cried some more.
Speaking of opening night, what was your official Broadway debut like?
February 25th was wild. I actually have, let me see if I can pull up this photo. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But Allie Miller and Emma Hunton were both in town specifically to see me open. And my opening date, both my birth mom and my mom were also in town, and Natalie Massini was staying in my apartment because she was doing Starry at 54 Below. So I had a lot of people around me, which I thought was going to stress me out. But it actually made me, it didn't calm me down. Like I definitely, like everybody did a really good job at not crowding me because they knew that like it was a lot. But I think if I had been alone, I think that I would have let my brain spiral a little bit. So this was taken at 3:23 p.m., February 25th. And this is Emma Hunton and Allie Miller and me naked in a bathtub in my apartment in New York. I was taking a pre-show, like, calm down bath because I was going to dry off and, like, go to the theater at, like, 5. Because our shows started at 7, so not at 8. So, yeah. And it was, I mean, it was wild. I mean, I'm looking at these pictures now, and it's like taking my pin curls down, you know, with all around my hairline, and just wild. My mom took a picture of my hands. My mom took this picture of my hands, which I'm probably never going to find now that I'm talking to you, of course. But she took this picture of my hand on top of her hand, and it's just a big green claw. I'll have to send it to you some other time, but it was pretty wild. It was wild because there were so many people in town, and you know, Mia and Dee and Taya Pat and Vanja, and just like a bunch of people were there, and it was really special, and I did well, and it takes a lot for me to say that I did well, but I did really well, and wanted to continue to do well. So I felt very prepared. I felt very ready. I felt determined. I felt very, they had just taken care of me. They'd really prepared me for it. And I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. It's very tiring. It's not, vocally, it's not an easy show. Emotionally, it's not an easy show. And a lot of people are like, well, you know, you don't really dance a lot. You know, you dance badly. And then you don't really you don't really dance around a lot. And it's like, no, I don't, but I do sprint everywhere. And the stage is raked this way. So you're on a hill the whole time, which is not easy on the body. and then you run around for the entire second act in a 17-pound dress, and it's very difficult. It's not easy. It's not a dance show, no, but it's hard to, you never leave stage. So it's just to kind of begin to get used to like the physical toll that that takes on you, and the fact that physical toll eventually becomes an emotional and a mental toll was pretty intense. And I just remember getting done and coming backstage and like beginning to take the green off, and I was like, holy shit, I have to do that again tomorrow. I cannot believe I have to do that again tomorrow. And I felt that same way that Tuesday, and then that Wednesday and Thursday, and I was like, I cannot believe I have to do that again tomorrow. So it's because it's a full-time job. It's not just, you know, oh, I'm having fun, like I get paid to have fun. No, that's it. Is it fun sometimes? Of course. Do I love my job? Yes. Is it a job? Yes. It is a full-time job, and it's very hard. And some people have been there for years and years and years, and they're like, oh, this isn't easy. This is a hard job. I'm here every day. And it's
Workout too.
yeah, it's a workout. Yeah, you have to keep it's not easy. It's not easy at all, but it's a privilege.
And I think I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. What's the quickest quick change in the show?
Quickest quick change is Emerald City. The quickest quick change is come with me to the Emerald City, and then Emerald City, the one short day in the Emerald City. I've always wanted to see the Emerald City. One short day in the Emerald City. Run. We have gotten off stage. One short day in the Emerald City. One short day full of so much to do. Every way that you look in the city, there's something exquisite you'll want to visit before the day's already walking on. Yeah. We literally just step out of one dress and then get into the Defying Gravity dress and the hat and everything, and we walk on. It's crazy.
Insanity.
It's so fast. It's like 30 seconds. It's I don't even think it's 30 seconds. It's really fast because you have to run all the way up the stage and then all the way off the stage, and then just let everybody rip things off of you and put things on, and then you just walk back on the stage. And it's like a dance. There's very specific things of like, you step here and you do this, and then you do nothing, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then you walk on, and you're just like, yes, ma'am. But it's fast.
If you're like a cardio junkie, then you're like, oh yes, this is major.
Yeah.
And how long does it take to get greenified? And what is the process like?
To get greenified takes about, it starts at half hour for Act 1. It starts at half hour, and I am finished with the full greenifying. So like the bib, we call it the bib. It will goes from here all the way around like a bib around your back. That starts pretty much right at half hour, and then we start getting green. Like my pre-show is to get there, warm up, do whatever I want to do before the show, and then right before half hour, I'm getting into my tights and my underwear and my green jumpsuit or my bodysuit and everything, and my shoes sometimes if I feel like being in my shoes. And then I sit there for 30 minutes and continue to get warm, talk to people, and then by Glinda, Glinda, how does wickedness happen? When she talks about she had a father, she had a mother, as so many do, that's around the time where I'm getting my hands finished and I'm in my costume. I put my costume on. Usually by like a froggy ferny cabbage, the baby is a naturally green, is when they have closed the door and I have like a second to myself, and then I walk backstage to go run on. It's long. It's not through the entirety of intermission, and then through most of Thank Goodness to get the contour, the second act, Elphaba on, and then we're the first ones in and the last ones out. So, yeah, I really like getting green. I find it really relaxing. I also just love Craig. Craig is a very calming energy, and he's he just knows he's right in your face. He's in every Elphaba's face, and he knows, he understands more than anybody how what it takes to play the part, and he just gets it, and hair people. I mean, not really. Mary Kay has been there for a very long time, but like some hair people and some costume people will come and go, but like Craig has been there for years and years and years, and I don't think that I'd be able to get through a show without Craig and Mary Kay and Alyssa. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Elphaba does not happen without her troupe. I truly just sit there and let them work their magic, and then I go on stage and I'm like, look at what they've done. I just have to sing. I mean, and it's not that easy. Like, I'm not going to downplay it, but it really is like, I wouldn't fucking get on that stage if it wasn't them putting the pin curls in my head and the green on and calming me down or hyping me up or just asking me how I'm doing, and taking care of me. They're amazing. Very, very lucky.
Elphaba's a role that's been around since early 2000s, 2003, 2004.
I mean,
Yeah.
So how do you make the role your
own? I could come up with a really long answer, and there are long answers to this, but simply because I am the only Lindsay Pearce, it will be my own. And that's not like I'm Lindsay Pearce, so it's my own. It really is they know the part so well, and there is a bit of kind of like stepping into like the cardboard cutout of Elphaba, but they don't want, if I walked in and I did everything the way Idina Menzel did it, they'd be like, no, that's not why we cast you. We just call Idina if we wanted Idina to come back into the show. It's my own because I say the lines the way that I would say them, or the way that I interpret Elphaba. And that's kind of a great joy, is that maybe someone will be like, someday be like, I don't want you to do what Lindsay Pearce did. I want you to do what you do. Or I don't want you to do what Shoshana Bean did. I want you to do what you do. I don't want you to do Julia Murney. I want you to do you. And that's the beauty. That's why Elphaba, I wish that everybody could see that Defying Gravity video. I wish everybody has seen it, everybody in the world, because how different was every single singer? Yeah. How different was every single interpretation? And that's the beauty, is that we were all singing the same exact song and not one person was similar. And it's just, that's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. And it's an honor. It's an honor to be able to do a role that everybody loves so much. And some people, it's like you could be the best, most juicy peach in the world, and people are like, I hate peaches. I'm like, that's fine. Go eat an apricot. That's fine. I'm a peach.
I feel like part of what keeps everyone who's a repeat attendee of Wicked, because there's a lot coming back, is the fact that everyone is so good at singing it differently and pulling out different surprises.
Totally. Yeah.
Which is wonderful. Makes it always entertaining.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Elphaba song to sing?
I really love No Good Deed because it's very dramatic, and I love not so much drama, but I love that part of the show for Elphaba. I love the madness, and I love the power behind the song, and her putting together her entire timeline and realizing, like, was I really seeking good or just seeking attention, and just kind of ripping away her ideas of, I thought I was a good person and I guess I'm not, and I think that there's something really it's like a phoenix moment for her, and I love that for her. I love her ascension into the true Wicked Witch of the West, because we love Margaret Hamilton, and it's just really fun, and it's really fun to incorporate some of those Wizard of Oz traits of our original Wicked Witch of the West, of that, like, if that's all good deeds are, like things like that. It's very, I'll get you, my pretty, and it's very exciting to become this, this kind of icon, this iconic character, and it's just fun. It's a very fun song to sing. Everybody's on the edge of their seats. and it just feels like a crazy ride. And I think that would be one of my favorite Elphaba songs. Yeah.
What was your first time flying like?
Um, Kind of freaky. I'm pretty scared of heights, and the cherry picker that you go up in, when you go up for the first time, you're not going up with like the lights and the orchestra. You go up with your street clothes on and your rehearsal shoes on, and the house lights, all the lights on, and it's just a house full of empty blue seats at the Gershwin, and you're very high in the air, and because you can see everything, you're very aware of how high up you are. And so it was kind of freaky. And then, when you're saying, and nobody in all of Oz, you go up higher. So it was
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like, oh, shit. And then they did it again a couple times. And then you're just like, oh, whatever. And also when you're in the moment, you really don't feel it anymore. And when you're up there, you can't see a goddamn thing. In the show, I can't see a thing except for the light on my conductor and my cast at the very bottom, and like maybe a couple people in the front row. Can't see it. Can't see a thing. So I'm just like, I don't know. I think I'm in the air.
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe
I feel higher.
Yeah, I feel high. Yeah.
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 What's the main difference between LA theater audiences and Broadway audiences that you've noticed so far?
I would say, well, one, the Gershwin is huge. The Gershwin is almost 1,200 people or something insane, or it's like almost 2,000 people, some crazy, crazy number. It's the biggest Broadway house in Manhattan on Broadway. So that's definitely different. I don't know. I think I didn't spend a lot of time in LA playing big houses, so I went from a very intimate kind of theater community to the NFL of theater. And excuse me, that's just, I had a bunch of green apples before this interview. I think just the sheer might of it all is very different. I think the sheer production value and the magic that the audience witnesses, it's just different. There's a different energy, and I think LA audiences are really rowdy, but I think that's also the theaters that in the spaces that I was performing in, where I'm used to people having their phones out and breaking the fourth wall all the time, whereas this is theater. This is real proscenium stage. Fourth wall is made of brick and not getting broken. Yeah, a lot of that's definitely different, and it's nice to have that relationship, to know that the audience is with you even though you are not directly acting to them. Is nice. It's I don't know, it's like being on a TV screen. It's very interesting.
If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
If I could give my younger self advice, what would it be? Oh man, probably, I mean, just one bit of advice. I think I would just, maybe not even advice. I think it would just reassurance of not everything is meant for you, and that's going to be okay. Don't take yourself so seriously. Not everything is meant for you, but what is meant for you is going to be amazing. So just breathe. Yeah. And just please be nice to yourself. I feel like a lot of people would be like, oh my God, I wish I could tell my younger self to be kinder to myself, but I wouldn't be the person I am today without all those experiences. So, yeah.
What do you think live theater will be like when it is able to safely come back?
I'm honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I think I would like to know. Let me ask someone else. I'm like, let me call somebody and ask. I have no idea. I really, I wish I knew. I have no idea. I have no clue. I think there's gonna be a lot less one-on-one contact with audience members and performers, but I don't know. As long as it comes back.
And with this whole virtual world of living in, you mentioned you've been coaching and stuff. How do you like that experience?
I love it. I love teaching. Um, I love to coach. I love to give people space to be heard. I love to be able to encourage. I love giving people words of affirmation and you know, when there's nothing more rewarding than someone coming, you know, with a song or a scene and feeling stuck and just it's kind of like proofreading a paper. You just get to watch it and experience it and say, loved that. Suggestion. In this section, why don't you try it this way? Or what are you thinking about here? Or why don't you see this person when you're singing? Or if you're feeling worried about this note, why don't you open it up this way? And then to see it be performed for you again and for the shift to happen and for them to be like, and saying things like, how'd that feel? And they say, it felt good. And I'm like, I love that. How do we make it feel better? How do we do that? And that's amazing because I think as artists, it's difficult to see progress, but to be able to witness progress is really amazing. And that the difference is like constantly doing things, like progressing constantly. You know, I could practice for hours and hours and hours and hours and be like, nothing's happening. But if someone else was to watch me practice for hours and hours and hours and be like, if you could hear a different that was from that, oh my God, it'd be really nice. So it's nice to be that for someone else.
And you could be coaching like the next person who's going to be in your shoes in the future.
Could, yeah. It's like, yeah.
You could,
Yeah.
like the future Elphaba, future person who's going to get on musical
Yeah.
series of a television show.
Yeah. I had coaches, so, you know, maybe I could be that for somebody else. And I know how important teachers were for me, so, yeah.
Lastly, besides coaching, have you been working on anything else in quarantine that you want to promote?
Nothing that's going to be out anytime soon. I'm working on some duets with friends, and I'm just kind of doing things for me. I've been encouraged to start a YouTube channel, but I don't think I'm actually going to do it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know if I have the constitution. I don't think I have the patience or the will. But I've been asked to, and I have no clue what I would do on a YouTube channel. But maybe we'll see. If I get really bored and I'm like, okay, I truly have nothing else to do, I will start a YouTube channel. So maybe keep an eye out for that. But I have a few fun ideas of just like my entire thing about creating any kind of content is just a little bit of like what I love to see is just like how-to videos or this is my experience with this or yada. I love to hear stories and I love to hear people trying challenges or trying, you know, I tried to dance for 30 days and I am not good at it. You know, things like that. I really enjoy getting a sneak peek in onto other people's experiences and stories, and I love feeling connected. So if I can find some way to do that without looking like an absolute just whole pudding, I will see if I can. But yeah.
I mean, when you make a YouTube channel, wait, not it.
Yeah.
So where can people follow you on social media to keep up with what you're doing right now?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. It's just Lindsay Heather Pearce. And then my Instagram is also Lindsay Heather Pearce. And I think my Twitter is Ms. Lindsay Pearce, but I don't think I'm ever on Twitter. I hate Twitter. I can't. But yeah, I'm pretty much always on Instagram. I enjoy the Instagrams. I love pictures. I'm just Gaston. Just like, look at all these pictures. But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where you can find me.
Well, now we have like all these added things on Instagram too.
I know. I was like, oh, I'm never gonna know how to do a reel.
Yeah, I'm
I'm not
like,
on TikTok. I couldn't tell you anything about TikTok. I'm not on it. I'm not in it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't. I get it. I love it, but I don't get it. I'm like, I love to see it. I'm not going to be a part of it.
I avoided TikTok, and then Reels came along, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, I didn't avoid it.
Yeah, maybe because it's all in one place, maybe I'll give it a go, but
Yeah. And
yeah,
she's like, here you go.
yeah.
But anyway, this has been fun.
So good to see you. Thank you for having me, my dear.
Of course. Sorry the sound got a little,
Oh,
but
it's fine. We're in
I'm gonna,
quarantine.
yeah. But I appreciate you coming on, and I'll let you know when this is up. It should be
Yes.
by Sunday-ish.
Yeah. It's
If
so good to see you.
it's
Thank you for doing this, and thank you for always just being just a wonderful supporter of this whole big group of people that we know. And it's one I miss seeing you with your like taking all the good videos and being there and supporting and your hugs after shows. So I hope I can see you again sometime soon.
I know. I miss seeing you all too, and it's a pleasure supporting all of you
Yeah.
talented people.
Sending you all my love. I hope. Give your dog a kiss for me.
I will. I'll give her,
Okay.
even though she's
Yeah.
obnoxious sometimes,
Yeah.
it's too loud, but I'll give
Yeah.
her.
Okay. Good
I'll
to
send her
see you.
Bye.
Bye, love.
Thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Or for more exclusive content from this interview and more, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Backstage with Becca B. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!